Chosen one, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back once again to another episode on Antonicus Motivates. Today is August the 14th, Friday, 2026. And chosen ones, I wanted to come back to you today and talk to you on another video about how, pretty much your whole entire life has been a struggle. Your whole life, they've been trying to hold you down. And chosen ones, you are not like most other people, see? You are not like them. Most other people are not like you. You are rare. And there's very few like you. Your whole life you had to struggle. You could never really excel in the public school system or anything like that when you was growing up, when you was little. It was because you was always being bullied and you always was in fights with your peers, and you was getting suspended from school, or you was getting put into ISS, in school suspension, and you never really could fit into this system. It's because you are not part of this system, and you never really understood the reason why. But the reason why was because you have a special thing about yourself with God. You have a special calling. You had a special calling over your life from God. And that's what made you different. So that's the reason why they've been fighting you your whole entire life. Your whole entire life, they've been trying to hold you down to make it to where you couldn't hardly function. Every time when you would seem to get ahead or anything like that, then something would come to set you back. And you always are the type of person who you have a kind quality about yourself. You always, have a personality that's loving and caring for others, respectful to others. You want to see the best for others. You always wanted to be the best you could be and do the best that you could do in everything that you always did. And you wanted to you just wanted to, you wanted to, you also wanted to look for the best in other people. You wanted to see the best in them. And you always just wanted to, get along with everybody. It's you was always trying to do that, but there would always arise a conflict between you and them somewhere because of who you are and because you're different. So you never really understood why that was either. It was you never really could fully grasp the reason why you couldn't really, hold on to the same people in your life or have the same friends in your life for very long, because there would always arise something, within the person that you was dealing with that would create a conflict with you and them. And then you didn't know why. And it was just because of who you are, and that you're different, and that they were irritated by who you were. The entities within the people that you was dealing with was irritated by who you were, and they was just jealous of you. Many of them they just couldn't, handle who you were, because you just carry that spirit that is the type of spirit that's loving, nice, and you just want other people to feel the same way you feel. But you couldn't never really, it's like it's the wavelength that you were on and the wavelength that they were on. It's the frequency, because everything is frequency. Now you know and you understand now, after everything that you've done experience, about frequency and everything like that, and about like wavelengths, and how you know more about the spiritual warfare now, and know that now that you know all the things you know about that, and have experienced everything that you went through. Now you know that it's a war between the forces of darkness and light, and you have always been a being of light, even though you didn't even really know that. You were sent here to do what you came to do, to awaken others to the truth. That's the reason why the truth was revealed to you in your life. Many of you chosen ones, you were raised in a religious family that was a cult, and you didn't even know that's what it was with your with your family or nothing like that. You didn't know that, you didn't know what it was with the church you was raised in. And I've told my story here on my channel before to y'all about how I was raised in a Mormon family with the Mormon religion. And you didn't even know the reason why, like, your whole life growing up, it always felt weird to you, the religion that you was raised in. And you started even having questions when you was little, and you didn't know why. Like, I remember, for instance, when I was little and in the primary school class in the church, the teacher there took us outside when I was a little boy, and he started explaining to us about the kingdom of heaven and describing it as 3 different kingdoms. And he had like a piece of like sidewalk chalk, like like you write on the sidewalk with, like kids did when they was growing up, or a chalk off of a chalkboard. And he started, and I remember it was like the pavement on the ground was black, like the black parking lot, where he was like drawing it out with a piece of white chalk, like 3 circles on the ground, and explaining the kingdom of heaven as being the highest degree, the celestial kingdom, the bottom 2 degrees, the telestial, and the I forget what the other astral kingdom is. Anyway, I remember as a young boy, when I was told about all of that, when I was little, questioning that to the teacher and saying, Well, I thought that there was a heaven and a hell. How is it that there's three different heavens and stuff like that? And I remember um, it was kind of like it was hard for me to understand that, and he was trying to explain it to me, but it didn't make no sense. And then later on, he just said to me, when I was struggling with that and when I was feeling kind of like upset about not being able to understand that and stuff, he just said to me that like, well, don't worry, because no matter what, the first law of science is that energy never dies. So your spirit, when it leaves your body, that's energy, and that energy never dies. It goes somewhere. So anyway, that's the way he kind of like tried to explain everything. But okay, so I guess I just put that in there just so y'all could know about what started raising red flags with me at an early age about, the church and everything that I was in. You see, the thing about chosen ones is about us chosen ones is that we have a like discernment and we question things, right? We never have really just accepted what we was told. But what we learn and what we notice is that most people in society, this is what we learn later on in life, you know what I mean? Most people in society, they were just born into or raised in a certain family with a certain religion, and they just accepted what they was told. They never really left that. That's where they became comfortable. They just lived their whole lives that way, and whatever religion they were born into or whatever family they was raised in, with whatever church that their family in particular went to, they just accepted that as that was what it was, and they lived their lives that way their whole lives, and many of them still live their lives that way to this very day. But see, you chosen one, what it is with you and everything is that, you are different. And so when you was growing up, when you was going through life, you was going through your different life experiences here on this earth, and you went through things, okay, just like everybody else does, because the spiritual war is real. We understand that now. Like we understand all about spiritual war. But when you was growing up, you didn't really understand about all of that. You just knew that you were like exposed to a lot of different things that happened when you was growing up, a lot of like negative influences and everything like that, because that has all been always around us. That's part of this illusion. And we've been really in an illusion our whole entire lives, unbeknownst to many of us. It's like for a long time. Now we know it is, and now it's all being revealed for what it always has been. But for a long time, when we was growing up and stuff, we didn't understand what it was. We was just like, we just wanted to fit in. We wanted to be a part of everything that we saw everybody else being a part of. and we just wanted to have fun. We just wanted to, be accepted. So we did a lot of things that, we saw others doing growing up. And we all, we was all, all of us, chosen one, and everyone have, been exposed to this matrix and this, the influence that we've been surrounded by that was negative our whole life growing up, with all the television and everything they have promoted, the type of lifestyles they have promoted, the sin that has been glorified, that has been promoted in the music and everything. And it's like we, not only just in the music, but, it's like in everything, really, it's just been a lot of like negative influences, like even in just your neighborhoods or stuff like that, with drugs and everything like that, and so many different negative influences that have been always around us that we had to, be surrounded by, that we had to, encounter. And we got, involved with some of the wrong people. We kind of like, because what it is, now we understand that they've been fighting us the whole time. And when I say they, every time when I say they, I'm talking about the demonic entities in the spiritual realm, and I mean in the forces of darkness, and everything like that we've been fighting. They was always trying to lead us astray, lead us into things that was going to get us into trouble, lead us into things that was going to get us, that was going to cause us harm, that was going to cause us to not reach our full potential. Like I said, this is what it has been the whole entire time, our whole life. Now we know that, now once you awaken, you understand all this. See, but when you was asleep, you didn't understand that why you was being pulled in all these different directions with all these different people and all these different influences. You didn't really fully understand what was going on. You just kind of just you went with the flow. Like, you went with everything. You just, because you wanted to be accepted and everything like that. You wanted to be in with the in crowd and stuff like that. And so you went the ways you went and everything like that, but you got into trouble, you had problems. And in my case, I was in and out of jail and in problems at an early age. Also, many of you chosen ones, like, you never really had a father figure around in your home. You was raised by a single parent, like it was in my case. And so you didn't really have a good role model there to kind of like give you the direction that you needed as a young man or a young woman, some of you. And so you just kind of like went with what you saw going on around you, and you didn't really focus on the things that you should have focused on, and so that caused you a lot of problems. So anyway, just trying to make a long story short and everything about everything, and to try to make it make more sense about everything and get to the point that I'm trying to get to, is that everything caused you to have to, that you dealt with, caused you to have to go through the struggle. It was just like, you just had to go, you've always been struggling because of all of this. And you had like setback after setback because of all of this, because you you had to go through what you had to go through, and you had to learn lessons. It's like you had to learn lessons, man, about things that taught you, and then you saw the system for what it was. Like, you started to see, like, because of the things you went through, once you got into trouble and you started experiencing hardship and pain from that trouble in the form of like financial difficulties, and like I said before in many of my other videos, going into the court system, getting charged with charges, and even petty charges, getting hemmed up for simple possession of weed and stuff like that, at an early age and stuff like that, or just getting into trouble, in different places and stuff like that with the wrong people, mixing up with the wrong people, getting into fights and stuff like that. You learn from all of that, and it caused you to have to like experience what it was like to suffer, man. You know what I mean? And then after all of that, that's what caused to lead you towards like seeking out God and stuff like that. Like in my case, that's what caused me to start seeking out God more in my life, and seeking out the truth. And then, my whole life though, I struggled, and I didn't understand why. Like, I had a lot of like gifts and stuff like that were artistic, and many of you chosen ones have a lot of gifts where you're artistic. You could do artwork, you could draw, or you were talented in different areas, and you could have pursued that more, but you was like always trying to be drugged down by these other people, these negative people that came into your life. And so you got into trouble messing with them, and you had to learn from your mistakes. So once you learned from your mistakes, then you started seeking out the Most High, and a lot of things were starting to be revealed to you at that time. And so a lot of things was being revealed to me at that time, man. And then I started learning things about, the religion that I was in. And I've talked about this before in other videos of mine, to where I started like going to different churches and stuff, looking for the truth, and even going to non-denominational churches and everything, looking for the truth, because I had always questioned things about the religion that I was in. And then I found out things in my early 20s when I started, after the creation of the internet, where you could research things and search things online. That's when a lot of this information was given to us that we would not have had otherwise. So in a way, the internet really has been a powerful tool to expose a lot of things that we didn't know nothing about. So, during those times, I was able to do like a lot of searches and find out things about the religion and the church that I was raised in, and about the founder of the church that I was raised in, Joseph Smith. And I was able to dig and do research and find out exactly of what had happened with him, and learned that, eventually I found out that there was a lot of things I didn't like about him. And then I found out that, I found out a lot of things that he was involved with the occult with, and looking into seeing stones at an early age, and his father used divination rods and stuff like that to search for treasure and do treasure hunting and stuff like that. And so a lot of things was revealed to me during that time when I was doing research, and then, you know, that navigated me out of the church and away from that religion. And when I did that, you know, I had a lot of like resistance from other family members who didn't want me to, you know, to leave, and they were saying things like they had felt sorry for me, that I knew it was true, it was the restored gospel and stuff like that, and that I was a Mormon boy and stuff like that. I was supposed to be in the Mormon religion. This is what one of my uncles had said to me at the time. And I didn't want, I couldn't really like talk them out of everything, even after I presented them with the evidence that I had found in my research and everything like that, because what it is that people are brainwashed with religion, you know, and I had to find that out. You know, I had to learn that the hard way, that, you know, that's the reason why I was the black sheep of my family and why everything happened the way it happened. It's all making sense now, you know what I mean, why everything happened the way it happened, because that was all, you know, part of God's plan, so that, I guess, so that I could show them the truth, you know, about what was going on and reveal it. Because what you do, chosen one, that makes you such a controversial person, why you've had so much hardship in this world and struggles, is you expose the darkness just by your existence. And so because you expose the darkness and you expose the things in the dark, you expose the things that they don't like, because like I said, they want to keep everybody comfortable in the lie. And this is even your fake family members and everything. So I don't know, man. I hope I'm just making sense with this whole thing, you know, just explaining it the best I can about another reason why our whole life has been a struggle, man. So then when we went into these other religions and stuff like that, we found out the whole nature of religion and stuff like that. And then we found out that, like, that was all fake too. And it's like we had to learn that the church is actually within. The true church is actually within you, you know. That's where the true church is, because your body is a temple. So the church is within the temple of your body. That's the reason why they've done everything that they could with the whole thing in 2019 to ruin your temple, to you know, to cause you to mess around with your temple, you know, to alter the DNA, your code from the Most High, you know. And that's what they know, the forces of darkness, you know, Ephesians 6:12, the authorities, the ones who now we can clearly see is trying to destroy us all. You know, that's what they know. That's what they've always known. And, you know, your whole discernment and everything that you've always had from an early age, even like I said, from just a little boy, when I was a little boy, questioning those things that teacher had been writing on the ground with the chalk on the parking lot ground on the pavement. That same discernment that you've always had, where you question things, has carried over into your adolescent, your teenage, and then your adult life with everything that you have um, experienced. It's like that same thing about you that makes you who you are, uniquely who you are, chosen one. That same thing about you has carried over, and that's what's made you a threat to this kingdom of darkness, because like I said, they don't like to be exposed. And so you saw through the illusion at an early age, as a young little child, and all throughout your life, you saw through the illusion. Well, you didn't really see through it growing up, but then you saw through it later after your difficulties and everything. And then once you saw the truth for what it was, then you saw like how, like, you found out how, like, there was these organizations hidden in plain sight. And then you found out things that God revealed to you when you seeked out God. And you found out things about, how, there's these institutions and societies, secret societies and stuff like that, hidden in plain sight, that pulled the strings on, the judicial system and everything like that, and on like the whole system. Then you understood that what you was dealing with, you know what I mean? And then when you knew that truth, then you wanted to share that truth with others. This is the reason why I said it's like the hardest part about being chosen is knowing the truth, because the Most High revealed the truth to you, and then standing for that truth and trying to give that to others. And I know I'm talking really deep on my channel, and the thing about it is that I'm going in pretty deep on all of this stuff, man, because I have to, because it is deep. Everything is deep that happened to us, that made us understand what the truth was. And this is what people have had such a hard time with, because the truth is a hard pill for people to swallow. So you've had to carry the truth in a world full of lies, because God revealed it to you. And then you had a responsibility, once you learned the truth, once you found the truth out, to share that with others, to share what you knew. Because like I said before in other videos, man, if you know the truth, if God done revealed the truth to you, and then you sit on that truth and you don't share that with other people, then you actually setting yourself up for punishment, and you setting yourself up to come under God's wrath. I mean, if you don't live out what you supposed to, and tell others and share what God done revealed to you, then that's like a sin right there in and of itself. So like, once you learn the truth, then you realize how many people was going along out here to get along out here inside of the institutionalized, like, religious system. And you saw how, like, all these different industries were being run by these forces of darkness, man, that's been hidden in plain sight the whole time, that most people didn't really know nothing about. But now it's all being exposed. I mean, like, everything is coming to light, because like I said before in other videos, Matthew 10:26 told us that nothing that was hidden would not be revealed. And the same thing in Luke 8:17, I believe, was the other verse. And so, now that we are approaching these end times, it's like I said, the veil, and I said this in other videos as well, everything that was hidden is now coming to the light and being revealed, and all the deception that so many, have been fallen for so long is now being revealed. The whole evil scheme that's been going on behind our backs the whole time, all of us, it's all coming out and coming to light now. It's all being revealed now. It's all being shown for what it was and what it always has been. But we always knew, the chosen ones always knew. And we couldn't sit on the truth that we learned. We read books and stuff like that told us too. And I've even talked about some of the books that I read. And maybe I don't know, I'll share maybe some of those books again later, or maybe I'll drop some of those books in the comment section below this video. But like, one of the books was The Controlled Demolition of the American Empire, and talking about ever since, like, from 9/11 to the C-19 whole pandemic thing and everything. Like, for so long, it's a lot of things out there. It's material you can find, and that I had found, and read. And there's another one, and I'm gonna try to remember the name of that other book, but I'll probably share it in the comment section below too, or share these books later. But I think the other one was Deadly Deception, The Truth is Exposed, or something like that. Or the most dangerous book ever published, Deadly Deception, The Truth Exposed. Then also there was another one I read, The Truth is a Lonely Warrior by James Perloff. So anyway, it's like we learned a lot of things, and then of course, one of the most quintessential ones that I read that, that's happening now, that we see is happening now, is the whole police state, the book 1984. And the Orwellian dystopian police state, is being created now with all these AI data collection centers and everything. And we know, and we have always knew what was going on, and like, this is the truth that we carry. And so this is the reason why our whole entire life has been a battle, a fight, and a struggle, because we've been trying to get the truth out to people who have been walking around with the blinders on the whole time, in the sleepwalking zombie matrix out here that they have had everybody in. But all of these atrocities are coming to light now that was committed against humanity, and it's judgment time right about now. That's the reason why you are seeing all these things that are happening with all of these earthquakes and, and everything unfolding, just like it was said in Matthew 24, everything that Jesus said that would happen, is happening right now, and wars and rumors of wars and famines in different places and pestilence. The pestilence was the, like the viruses and all of that and everything. And we know that, that what these wicked and evil people do in these forces of darkness that we're battling against in this spiritual war, we know what they do is that they invert reality, and we know that what they do is they want to keep everybody in the dark, and they want to lead everybody astray and drag as many down with them as they can, and we know that, that they want us unaware, and the way they they keep everyone unaware, is by all of these distractions, to keep everybody preoccupied with other things while they're doing what they're doing, while they've been doing what they've been doing in the background, to keep everyone's attention off of them. And so, they've created all these things that you see around you in all the different types of forms of entertainment and everything, to keep everybody preoccupied with all of that. Because what these people do and what they've wanted to do the whole entire time is to slowly set us all up for what we see unfolding now. And I think in one of the books I had read is that, there's something about like, in order to boil a frog, you can't just put the frog in a boiling pot of water. You have to turn the temperature up gradually until you boil the frog, because otherwise he'll know what's going on and jump out of the pot. So this is what they've been doing to all of us for so very long with everything, is that they've been gradually turning the temperature up on us. And this is what, we knew, the chosen ones knew. Like, we knew this the whole time. But then it was like, when we actually started seeing things happening and seeing the things taking place in front of us, it just further validated that it wasn't just a conspiracy theory or something like that, like so many other people, they always called it theories, And I remember back in like 2013, after Edward Snowden had blown the whistle, and then Julian Assange on the WikiLeaks had let out a lot of information. A lot of it was being exposed then, and then a lot of it was being exposed then, and it's like these things that was happening, with everything taking place with all of that, and all of that was just further validation and to me, showing me that it was not theories. Like, also I remember watching shows like it even came on True TV and stuff like that, like back I want to say this was like in 2012, 2013, with Jesse Ventura, called Conspiracy Theories. And Jesse Ventura had like he had made some videos, some shows and stuff like that about it. And then also there's always been people out there who's been speaking out against what was been going on in the shadows, in the shadow government and stuff like that. Like people like Alex Jones and stuff like that have always been speaking about this stuff, and exposing it, shedding light on it and stuff like that. But it's like a lot of people just took it with a grain of salt and never really thought that it was really gonna be like happening. But now we see that it's been happening, and it's like, well, we knew it was going to happen, but now it really is happening, you know what I mean? And now we seeing the collapse of everything because of it. And so now we know that the biblical prophecy is unfolding, and that we are going through this paradigm shift right now, where people are going to have to shift out of the old way of thinking, man, and into the new way of thinking, and away from all of this fakeness, because we have seen that, like, we've came into this society of just nothing but like almost like the climax of fakeness, like just fake people everywhere, people trying to be something that they're not, people working so hard to like maintain this facade of being something that they're not, working so hard to like be validated by other people who are fake. And this is the reason why we are different. The chosen ones are different is another reason why we're different, and why we've struggled so hard, man, and why we could never be accepted is because, you know, we carry the truth, man. But we had to come to the point to where like we got to the point to where now the way we are now, it's like we don't even care about nobody else's validation or whether other people like us, because we realize our own self-worth without others, without needing others' approval, because we know we already have the approval from the Most High. When we know that, you know, our authority that we stand in the blood of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, you know, we know who we really are standing here for, you know. But I don't know, man. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video up because I went pretty long on the video again today. But this is just more of like why, you know, your whole entire life, chosen one, has been a struggle and a battle to survive out here, man. You know, so the struggle continues though, even now, you know, and the struggle I can see is getting worse every day. But, you know, we got to keep fighting. We can't give up. And I need to still keep coming here just to keep shedding light on the situation, and then sharing my testimony as well with each and every one of you about my life's experiences, so that way I'm not sitting on my truth, and so that way other people can know, and they can know about what happened to me, and about how I was tried to be silenced, and about how everything was happened to me, to where they literally tried to erase me for everything, and for my truth and all of that. Because when you stand for the truth, they don't like that, because they want to keep everything hidden. They want to keep all their agendas hidden. They've wanted to keep it all hidden for so long, in order to, you know, continue to do their wicked and evil diabolical plans on the earth and stuff like that. Because if everybody knew, then it would be a wrap for all of them. But it is going to be a wrap for all of them, because it's over for all of these witches and warlocks and these people. That's who they are. You know, they're sorcerers. And the word of God says a sorcerer should not live. You know, the word of God says, suffer a witch not to live, you know, and stuff like that. So it's over for all of them, you know, with all of their evil agenda and everything like that, man. But I don't know, man. I just wanted to shed some more light on the situation about like everything that happened to me in my life personally. And also, you know, I know that many of you chosen ones, this is the reason why your whole entire life has been a struggle, and why many of you have never been able to really, you know, progress out here in the society or anything like that, because we are not of this world. We are not part of this system. We never could be part of this system, and we are outside of this system. All right, so I hope this helped one of you out today, chosen one. I hope this helped you out today, chosen ones. And you know, I hope that y'all are all doing well, and that your mental health is well, because that's what I've been having to take care of my mental health lately, and just, you know, try not to lose my mind out here, because you know that's what they're trying to do out here in this matrix, chosen one. They're trying to make us lose our minds, make us out to be the villains, and they're trying to make us look like the ones who are emotionally and mentally unstable. But we know that nothing could be further from the truth. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap the video up right there, and I've went almost into an hour on this video, and I know this video is very long, but if you made it to the very end of this video, then dang, man, I guess this message was for you today. I guess this message was meant for you to hear today about everything that I said. I know many of y'all are probably not going to make it this far into this video, but if you did make it into this far into this video, then thank you for staying all this time. Thank you for paying attention and listening and hearing me out and everything about what I had to say. Because, my whole goal with this whole channel is to keep everybody motivated, even during these dark times that we are in, and to keep everybody, aware and just raise awareness with my channel, and we are not to fear, you know what I mean? Nothing. Like Psalm 27 says, and like Psalm 91 says, Isaiah 41:10 says, so many different verses that we are not to fear, man. We was not given a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and sound mind. And we are multi-dimensional beings of light, having a human being experience. And so we know that this life is only temporary here, you know what I mean? So everything here is temporal. So we're just here holding the line on our mission, on our assignment, to complete our mission and our assignment. And then after that, then once we've successfully completed everything we came here to do, then we ain't worried about leaving this world behind, because we already know it's hell on this earth every day, and that it's only getting worse every day, chosen one. It's only getting worse, and it's probably going to continue to get worse before it gets better. But anyway, man, I'm gonna go ahead and close it up right there and wrap the video up, because it's probably gonna take me a long time to load all of this now and edit the video and everything. And then, I'm gonna go ahead and catch y'all all on the next one. All right. So as always, chosen ones, peace, love, light, blessings to each and every one of you. Just stay strong, man. Continue to fight. That's what we have to do every day, And yeah, so till the next one, man, I'm gonna catch y'all all on the next one. I'm out.